Good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. It's Monday, which means we are reading your mail. We are answering the questions which you guys have sent in to us via our Instagram stories. But I'm not just going to answer questions on my own, because who wants to just hear me for 45 minutes? I've got a great panel to be doing it with me, and let's kick things off with the co-host of the show, Clark Taylor. How are you, Clark?
What is good, Ben? I am stoked to be back once again in the building. Yesterday, 5 hours, Progress Wrestling. Then I watched Bloodsport with a couple of friends of ours. Had a blast doing that. I did the math. I consumed about 10 hours of wrestling yesterday, which I think is a personal record for myself, and I'm really proud of myself. I'm stoked to get into this show, and let's open the mail. I didn't even make my Blues Clues reference yet.
Ha! That is, I can't believe you didn't make that reference, Clark, but absolutely, this entire weekend of professional wrestling was so crazy. I'm so behind. Obviously, I watched Progress with you yesterday, but I feel like I've missed so much wrestling this weekend because there was just so much of it. There was like 14 shows I wanted to watch in one weekend. It was crazy. It was borderline impossible to do. We have Numero 1 Superfly in the chat. Hello, Numero 1. I hope you're having a great day. But also joining us today, he is back from Mexico. How are you doing, Sol?
Daddy's home, boys. Yeah, I'm back in the suit and everything. It does feel a bit tighter, though. I think you need to get rid of the Mexican water weight, but nonetheless there. We've on the jet lag side. I was up with Clark last night and watching Bloodsport. Actually, it's good I did, because it helped me with a guest who I interviewed earlier today. Yes, I'm back for one day and I'm back on the interviewing. Somebody who was at Bloodsports last year and ran into a certain punk at the show, but I digress. Let's get into some mail, shall we?
Absolutely. And for once today on a Monday, I don't think we're talking about CM Punk, but we are going to be talking about the Judgment Day. And let's just kick things off straight away with them, because we have a question submitted by @Jose99 saying, should Finn Balor be the mastermind behind breaking Judgment Day up? It's a great question, and I said last week that I think that is what's going to happen. I believe Finn Balor and Liv Morgan, they are in cahoots, and they are going to bring down Judgment Day from inside of it. Dominic Mysterio is going to accidentally cost Rhea the title at SummerSlam, and because of that, Rhea will be annoyed. Dom will then turn and join Liv, and it will all be a trap. Judgment Day will be split in half. Dominic Mysterio will be basically the enemy of both sides. He'll be stuck in the middle. It'll be chaotic. It'll be dramatic. And I believe it will all take place at SummerSlam. But, Clark, I want to get your thoughts on this. How do you think it's all going to go down?
So I think this works three different ways, especially looking at the history of the Judgment Day, if Finn Balor is, in fact, the puppeteer. First and foremost, this is the guy who took out the original leader, Edge, essentially, in what is now an infamous, nearly forgotten segment. He's also, my second point here, headed into this, outside of maybe Ripley, you could argue, the most established performer in the group, that has been elevated the least by the group. Well, he's won a tag team title. He was a former world champion before he joined the Judgment Day. He has not been one since. Others in the group, Damian Priest, have. So Finn Balor being a little bit bitter and maybe self-sabotaging a group that he helped build in the first place adds up in that regard. And last but certainly not least, we saw a few months ago, he took that Liv Morgan hotel key. They are in cahoots. They've got to be. That was not just a hint. When she put the hotel key down, it was Finn who picked it up. And I saw it. I think a lot of people saw it. And there's got to be a reason for that. I think once it's paid off, we'll be more stoked about it than we are right this second. But I'm not totally sure what it does for Dominic, Damian, and the rest of the group there, or how it all plays out. I haven't been able to vet that, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, it is a weird one with Dominic Mysterio where it's kind of difficult to work out if they're going to turn him heel or face following it, because obviously he's a heel now. The heel run has been very, very successful for him. So perhaps you do just have him be literally a tweener if half of them split off and be heels, Balor, Liv, and JD, and then the other half split off and be faces in Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, etc. Well, maybe I don't know if he's in the group or not, but Carlito, his name completely escaped my head then, but Carlito, maybe he joins the face side as well, and then you have a divide between the faces, heels, and then just Dominic Mysterio in the middle, enemy of both groups. That could be something that happens as
I also think that the only other thing I would add to that is I do think we don't necessarily need to split them into even groups. Let's have let's have some people drop off and get away from the Judgment Day and go out on their own. I think it's getting to that time. It's been long enough.
Yeah, no, that is a good point too, and I definitely think that is the way in which it will go. But of course, when you split up a big group, there's two ways pretty much of doing it. You can go down the route where you kick out the leader or something like that. You turn on the leader and that's what happens. Or you can split it in half or do something like that, kind of like what they did with the Shield, where Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose were still buddies for quite some time. Because with a tag team, it's easy. There's one bad guy, one good guy. But with a big group, it's a little bit of a headache. Number one is saying what Liv should do is laugh at Rhea after SummerSlam, but reveal she has been with someone for a while, and it's Finn Balor, and it ties out of them, coming out of the same car, hotel keys, all the rest of it. But Soul, what do you think?
It's an interesting one. I don't mind Finn Balor being the puppet, but I think Liv Morgan should be the puppeteer. She's stringing along Finn to do her bidding, and by course of correction leads to the split up of the Judgment Day. The thing is with the Judgment Day splitting up, I can see Priest going somewhere, maybe staying in the high upper tier of the. I was going to say what's above mid card, main event.
Upper mid card, yeah.
Jesus, I am on half working jet lag. Sorry, boys. I feel like he could go against Gunther for a rematch at Bash of Berlin. Why not do that? Think as well, why not have Finn and Dom feud with Liv and Rhea, as a mixed tag, maybe at some point Bash of Berlin. Then you get to Carlito and JD, who realistically, I do not know what to do with them, no offense. Maybe let JD run a bit on speed, have Carlito just maybe work lower mid card. But I feel like it's a good idea to maybe have people be fully splinter off and not really be as closely associated to the Judgment Day. I do think the results at SummerSlam will probably be Dom might say, because people are like, oh, Dom should turn on Rhea and work with Liv, or Dom should stay with Rhea and then go against Liv and Finn. Could work ideally either ways, but I don't know. I just think in my mind, Liv Morgan is more of a mastermind than Finn Balor to me. Finn Balor just really seems like a bit of a lackey, strung along and in the right situation to get what he wants. But then again, what is it he wants? Does he just want to break up the Judgment Day? Is he jealous Dom got a PS5 and he's got an Xbox One? Is he jealous that Damian Priest still has the World Heavyweight Championship? We kind of need to know what Finn's goal is from breaking up the Judgment Day, because, he's in this faction with the World Tag Team Championships, doing well for himself. Why would he split it up? What does Finn really get from splitting up the Judgment Day?
Yeah, I think you are right. It all comes back to that jealousy, right? Because, of course, we saw at SummerSlam 2016, Balor won the Universal Championship. He was the first Universal Champion, and then he went and lost the belt due to injury. He never, got pinned or anything like that. He came back, and he's never been the same since. He's never got to the same height. He had multiple matches last year against Seth Rollins, and he could never win it. He could never win the belt. But Damian Priest, on the other hand, he did win the belt. He could beat Seth Rollins, albeit with a little bit of help. But there's a lot of jealousy there. Finn Balor wants that belt. He wants what Damian Priest has. And I guess that is, the point. And yeah, Shad is saying the same thing there, but he wants Liv Morgan to have a 1,000-day reign.
I think Shaw just knows I'm still half asleep after yesterday, and he's trying to wind me up. Just give me an adrenaline rush. Don't you dare use that nickname for Tony Storm again, Shad. Don't you dare. That is absurd. That's ridiculous.
Phony
Ladies,
Tony Storm.
Simply wrong.
Allison, get HR on standby. We're gonna have a problem again.
We are going to have a fight, but yeah, I mean, it's an interesting situation here. Is Finn Balor going to split them up? I don't know, but the one thing which, Clark, I know you've made this point before, it feels like this Judgment Day split has been going on for years, because it kind of has been. It's been going on for over a year.
They've been splitting for a long time.
I don't know how they aren't split yet, but I do think at SummerSlam they are going to. And I think if it's after SummerSlam, I think they've waited too long.
Have you ever seen the movie The Breakup with Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston? It's like the extended version.
It just goes on and on and on and on, and it just never stops, right? That's what's happening here. It's like it's one of those movies where it's like 3-4 hours long, and you're like, you could have done this in 2 hours, guys.
It's like
wasting my time a bit.
It's like the Titanic, basically.
Wow, I don't know about that. Now he's insulting a classic movie.
But they break up at the end.
Yeah, but it's not too long.
It's nature's fault, though.
Death.
I feel like, I mean,
it's perfect. It's a masterpiece, Clark.
The Titanic?
It's a masterpiece.
Okay,
yeah,
we'll
have a
different show about
5-star classic. I'm giving a Wrestling Republic scale 5-star. It has storytelling. Okay. It has psychology.
Can you watch it more than once?
Yes. I genuinely watch it like once every 6 months.
It's like 4 hours.
Yeah. But it's a banger. Oh. I'm entertained throughout.
We watch pay-per-views monthly. They're like 4 hours. We can survive.
Yeah, but it's new every time.
That's true.
Still the same people.
That's true.
You're like, this time they're going to make it. Ben gets
so
an hour and a half
compelling.
into the movie, and he's like, I'm telling you, this time it's going to work. He gets to the end. He's like, please, it's going to happen. They've got this. And then they take it away.
And then the iceberg breaks, as KFK says. But he also says that Finn Balor versus Damian Priest should be at Bad Blood. Would make a lot of sense. The name of the show, it's perfect. It does. I mean, Shad saying it's the best storyline. Sorry, one of the best. I actually don't. No. I'm standing up for Shad here. I actually don't disagree. But they need to start to wrap it up now. If it goes on any longer, I think it's too long. But right now, it's at peak.
I disagree. I think Damian Priest is starting to shine on me as world champion. I think Rhea's been fine as always with the Dom bit. But like everyone else associated with Finn, JD, and Carlito and all that, I think it's been very poor, especially being the tag champ. It's just not. I feel like the stuff with the Judgment Day with Priest and Rhea is so good it overshadows everything that's beneath it, which is the dragging of it with JD and Carlito and Finn.
JD is a tag team champion. He's not being dragged.
Yeah, and the tag team champions lost to Jey Uso and Sami Zayn.
Yeah, because they're telling a story.
I think
it's not like if they ignore it, I'll agree with you. But they're telling a story that's about.
And now I know Finn Balor's going against Gunther tonight on Raw, and that he's probably going to lose as the tag team championship.
Because it's leading to the split.
I'm with Saul on this.
We've had the split reason for like when he faced Priest or Seth, and Priest had the Money in the Bank. And he was
but it's all adding up.
I think
you can add levels to it. To Shad's point.
Not one of the best. I think it's just one of them.
What are we building here? A skyscraper? Come on, we have a city skyline limit to here. We can't go across it.
But no, I mean, it is true. It definitely isn't the best, but I will say one of the best. I think you can certainly argue. But now let's discuss if Solo Sikoa is currently one of the best.
No.
Well, Soul statement on that one is quite quick, but at Jeff C1207 is asking, do you see Solo Sikoa as the next champion? Well, I am going to agree with Soul because I think there's a higher chance of Roman Reigns returning, getting on his knee and putting his finger up and acknowledging Solo Sikoa than Solo winning the championship. No way in hell is he going to win it. Clark, am I wrong?
Absolutely not. I would be furious if this is the case. And people thought I would be furious about Cody Rhodes. and I wasn't. That wasn't the case. I liked to joke. But no, 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 no. Please, no. Do not. Not yet. It makes no sense. He's been better than I expected lately, if I'm going strictly off recency bias. But it took some time to get to where we are here. The group is the whole thing. Solo as champion does not work with Roman Reigns waiting in the wings, with the final boss waiting in the wings. Because what I don't want is Solo versus either of them anytime soon for the world title. That makes no sense in the world to me. Solo needs to take Cody to the brink, put Cody over, lose somehow there. And then the questions start to form. Is he ready to actually be the tribal chief? And then we're back on track storyline wise, narrative wise. It all makes sense. That's the only way in my mind you can go about this. The answer is I'm with both of you on this. I think all three of us are in agreement. Absolutely not, especially not right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we got a few comments here. Numero 1 Superfly is saying Solo being the next champion, not yet. I can see it being Randy Orton or Jacob Fatu. I mean, I couldn't see Jacob Fatu either. Randy Orton, I definitely could see.
Yeah.
But I do agree, Solo is doing an incredible job, just like Shad is saying. But my question for you again, Shad, all names
Solo,
but you,
Clark, Shad.
But Han Solo, perhaps. But Clark,
Princess
my question for you, right, is you said there that you don't want to see Solo Sakoa versus Roman Reigns, Solo Sakoa versus The Rock for the WWE Championship. Do you want to see those matches without the championship?
Yeah, I would prefer it that way.
Cool.
About the tribal chief part of
Yeah.
the family aspect. Tell the bloodline storyline within the bloodline.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that needs the belt for that, for either of those. I think that's the most logical way to solve a problem that we had with how long Roman's reign was. No pun intended. But
we had those for what, 3.5 years, those puns.
It solves that problem, because then that was the issue, is everything had to be for the belt if it was Roman. Yeah. It doesn't now have to be for the belt. They can tell the bloodline story without the belt until the belt becomes relevant again, and keep the belt away from the bloodline. That's just my view.
I wholeheartedly agree. In fact, I am far, far, far more interested in seeing Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa in a normal singles match than I am actually, for seeing Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes again. I don't really have much interest in that.
Same.
I just want tribal chief. Let's do this bloodline storyline. I want Roman versus The Rock. No title. I want Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa. No title. I do think Reigns versus Rock will be for a title, and I believe it'll be the title which Rock is holding at that point. But that is a separate debate for a separate day. But we got a few more comments here. Shad's with none of us on this.
I know.
People hate on Solo like they do Priest. We complain about not having any new stars. We're not complaining about Solo. We're just saying that he's not
ready.
He's not the guy yet.
Yeah.
Jacob Fatu is the next guy.
Multiple things can be true at once, Shad.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with you, Sol, either. I think Jacob Fatu's awesome, but I don't think he's going to be ready for the main event.
I want the Samoan werewolf. I don't want Mr. Thumb. Mr. Thumb. Why do I want Mr. Thumb as next champion when I could get a werewolf guy? Mate, Thumb guy or a werewolf guy? I'm taking
werewolf guy. We're getting neither. We're having the Rock guy. We're getting Dwayne the Rock Johnson as the next champion.
So
I don't think that's the right. I don't think that's the right call, but I think that's the call they're making.
Sure, Allison. I'll see that when we see the Rock at Disneyland at a meet and greet from Mana 2, the championship around his waist. It's like 20 quid or something because it would be cheap.
I'll you know what? I'm just gonna go and say it, right? Firstly, I want to clarify, I do not want this to happen, but I think it will happen. I think The Rock is going to beat Cody Rhodes, whether it's at the Royal Rumble, whether it's at WrestleMania, and then it's going to be at some point, whether it's WrestleMania or the next year's WrestleMania, which would be awful if he's champion for a year and just never defends it, The Rock versus Roman Reigns for the belt, because I have a feeling that I've got a feeling that they think that the belt needs to be involved for a match of that caliber. Why do I have that feeling? Well, because they said that during the WrestleMania documentary. So I don't think they're now going to do a 180 from their own mouths. They said that match needs a championship belt, and I think it will have the championship belt when it happens, but I do not want it to happen in that way. But unfortunately, I think Dwayne The Rock's going to be the next champion. Soul's just gonna get on a plane back to Mexico and never come back.
I think it's probable.
Archer for win the championship. Yeah, why not?
Shard saying that he now wants Solo to win this weekend just for the lols. Let's do it. Let's have Solo as champion, shall we?
Do it.
But now let's talk about something which, let's be serious for a second. Because while we don't know whether or not Solo Sikoa will be champion coming out of SummerSlam, what we do know is how great Next Level is. Now, if you guys don't know what Next Level is, let me tell you a story. I would do a Cody Rhodes and ask you what you want to talk about, but quite frankly, I know what I want to talk about, and that's Next Level. Go to nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all our content across all platforms, all linked in one place. They've taken all our social media links, they've chucked them in one place, and that one place is nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic. Plus, they have an app. If you download their app, there's a special wrestling section within their app. It's completely free. There's nothing to lose. There's no catch. It's as simple as that. We all love wrestling. There we are. An app with a bunch of our links on it. Plus, then a separate app they have with all wrestling community, wrestling content creators on it. It's a win-win, guys. Once again, one final time, nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all our content across all platforms, linked all in one place. But now, let's head back into the mailbag, because boy, oh boy, do we have some more mail for you. We have this question submitted by @Tyler.Maggie_, who's saying, does PAC's booking on AEW and the International Championship scene make sense? Well, so since you've been away, of course, we've seen MJF win the AEW Championship, the AEW International Championship off of Mr. Billy Goat Will Ospreay. MJF is the champion now. PAC has a championship shot. What's going to happen? What do you think of the International Championship scene? I want to get your thoughts.
Oh, quite a lot to unpack here, so let's get to work. So first of all, I'll go on PAC. PAC has been very much an unsung workhorse for AEW. A lot of people are going to be like, well, he's never been booked and all that. Things have not gone wrong for him. So what's happened for him? So in 2020, he only wrestled 10 matches. Pandemic. He was in the UK, couldn't get across. That's a fair reason there. 2021, he did a lot of matches. I think he did nearly 26 matches in that year as well. He had the title match Revolution with Orange Cassidy and Omega, had the feud going into All Out with Andrade's debut, and then doing stuff with Death Triangle setting up as well. The year after that, obviously he won the International Championship, which was the All Atlantic at the time for an inaugural, and then he ended up getting the trios after the situation at All Out. So he was also the first AEW wrestler to hold two AEW titles at the same time. That's an accomplishment in and of itself. After that, injuries came in the way. He got injured in the parking lot brawl, which kept him out being all in. As well, I think he got a mild injury as well after the match against Claudio at Ring of Honor. So he's done good stuff. The only thing that's really just gone away is just sadly injuries and I believe visa issues as well. Because unlike WWE, where all their talent relatively live in the States, AEWs are not. That's why we have problems with like the Lucha Bros sometimes getting in, and sometimes the Japanese wrestlers like Ryo and Emi Sakura getting across, just because of visa issues. Now, the International Championship itself, it started off very, very well with PAC and Orange Cassidy, who really cemented that title. Really, really cemented it with like a 328-day reign. He was on pretty much everything. Battle of the Belts, Rampage, Collision, Dynamite. He was on everything. Then he dropped it to Moxley. And Moxley held it for 17 days. But in that time, I think he had 5 defenses. 5 defenses in 7 days ain't half bad. Or 17 days ain't half bad in my mind. Obviously, there was the injury spot at Grand Slam, which led on to Phoenix. Phoenix was also injured as well, and I think visa issues were coming up for him as well, so they put the belt onto Orange Cassidy. Cassie's second run wasn't as best as his first. I'm glad to admit that as well. Went to Roderick Strong. Roderick had a very iffy reign. He still had that stellar match against Kyle O'Reilly, which I think is an unsung match from Dynasty. I think what hurt that as well was obviously Adam Cole being injured and MJF not being back, so they couldn't really, go in all with the Undisputed Kingdom storyline. Then Ospreay won it and really, really elevated it to being one of the most important championships in AEW. And now on to MJF, who's now christened it the American Championship. And look what MJF is going to do with it. He's going to go to CMLL against Tempario. And now he's going against Michael Oku at Rev Pro on August 11th. Like, that's mental to see. And obviously, Pac did it at the start. He was in OTT against LG Cleary, I believe it was, and Shota Uno at Rev Pro. Like, MJF's pretty much doing, I think, what Ospreay wanted to do was, like, take the belt all around, and he didn't get that chance. Now MJF is just going to rub it in his face. And also, he's rechristened it the American Championship. I hate it. I absolutely hate that belt. It's probably one of the most ugly belts I've seen. But that's its role, is to make me hate the belt design to see somebody dethrone him. Now, of course, Pac got his championship opportunity from the International Four-Way, right? And we've seen Ospreay said he's cashing in his rematch clause, right? But one thing we haven't seen is the match graphic. A match isn't official until I've seen a match graphic. That's it in my mind, right? Now, if we take our minds to Comic-Con, that was on the weekend, right? Mercedes Moné came out and interrupted Britt at the AEW Comic-Con panel, and then we got it made official by Tony Khan, who then posted it on Twitter with a match graphic. So I think what might happen leading up to this is Pac might come out and say, whoa, goat, the Billy Goat, I want my opportunity. You can have yours, but I will be there in the ring with you. And we get a freeway for the American Championship. Because honestly, I don't think MJF should drop it at All In to either Ospreay or Pac. Let him run with it a wee war and be this cocky American character. Like, Ospreay could take a loss again to MJF, which really just cements MJF as a really big threat. And then you put Ospreay in the main title picture for the World Championship. You could have Pac chase it again. Heck, we've even got All Out, which I think is 2 weeks after All In this year. Pac could just cash it in there. Now, I would like Pac to get the UK moment, and a triple threat won't be half bad because we've got a lot of single matches on this year. Mercedes Moné and Britt, the World, the Women's, possibly as well Okada versus Hangman for the Continental Championship, which I think is going to happen. So, yeah, why not throw in a freeway just to mix it up a wee bit this year? Because a lot of people complained last year, too many multi-man matches. What are you going to complain again this year? What, too many singles matches? Make up your mind, sons. Come on now. So, yeah, there's options here. The match graphic isn't official for All In with the American Championship, and there's All Out. You have two easy ways to sort this out. So sip on your drink, sit down, glue your eyes to the screen, and just learn a little word called patience.
You forgot the other factor involved, though, which is a big factor, especially going into All In, Daniel Garcia. Because Daniel Garcia said, hey, I want that match against you at All In. And MJF said, sure. And obviously now he said that's not happening anymore. But he at first did say sure.
Well, he said it, but it wasn't made a match graphic. Match graphic wasn't made. It was MJF just being cheeky and getting in Garcia close to then turn on him. I think at the end of the line with the American Championship, I think Garcia should be the one to take it off MJF. But people going about that should be the match at All In. Well, it's not because match graphic wasn't made and things have happened where MJF has turned heel. So it was a deceitful invitation, and then MJF took that invitation and then turned it on him, and now Garcia's out. When he will come back, maybe he could come back at All In, maybe he could come back at All Out. But come on, there's Ospreay and Pac there as well. No one's going to complain about that.
Exactly, but also when Daniel Garcia versus MJF was first talked about, everybody was saying this is not a big enough match for All In too. So they're a bit hypocritical if they're now saying, well, where is he? But he is a factor, right? Maybe they do Fatal 4-Way, maybe they do Triple Threat, but if they do a Triple Threat, to Shad's point, it is so obvious Pac just there to take the pin. So who knows? They could do either of that. Maybe they do Ospreay at All In, Pac at All Out. Maybe they do the Triple Threat at All Out in, and then Garcia at All Out.
He's saying it's predictable. That's not a bad thing. Like, there's matches on the card we've seen. There's matches we've seen on the card for WWE, Ring of Honor, New Japan, where the match result is predictable, but it's still a stellar match. It's still going to entertain. And still
that's true. Have fun. But it's better if it's not predictable.
I mean, like Swerve and Samoa Joe. we knew Swerve was winning, but it was still an entertaining match everybody loved. Continental Championship, Okada versus Packet Dynasty. We all knew Okada wasn't going to drop it, but it was still an entertaining match that people were all chanting for and raving about. Just because a match
you can have
makes
a
it
good
predictable.
match, but it's better if it's not predictable.
Yeah,
That's the factor.
be improved upon.
I disagree with that. I still think it could be entertaining. Like Cody Rhodes versus
Predictability and
can you
telegraphed
disagree with that?
storylines are like something
yeah, but
that's
look,
worth
Cody Rhodes
complaining
versus
about.
Solo. Cody Rhodes versus Solo is going to be predictable. Cody's going to retain, obviously, but I'm not saying it's going to be a bad match. I think it'll be
I mean,
still.
it's not that predictable because a
Okay,
lot of people are
Rock's
predicting
in the
Solo.
waiting ring. Rock said, "I'm going to come for you with that championship when I return." Do you honestly think?
He said whether you have that championship or
yeah,
not.
that's the icing on the cake, so nobody can book themselves in the corner. But we know it's Rock. It's the big mega star. Of course,
No, I do agree with you. There are so many predictable matches in WWE, and there have been this year, and that's one of the flaws of Triple H's booking. No doubt about it. But in my mind, there is zero doubt that a match is better when it's unpredictable.
Yeah, when you're unsure of the winner, it's more exciting. That's simple entertainment principles.
I'm still entertained by whoever it's going to be. I don't care whoever's going to win or lose. I'm going to be entertained by seeing these guys going in the ring in Wembley Stadium with a ravaging fan base of everybody there saying this is absolutely fun and amazing. Like, I still think it's going to be entertaining, and that's what we need at the end of the day. It's entertainment. It needs to entertain.
But I'd be more entertained if I didn't know who was winning.
It's different though if you don't understand.
You see that for so many matches though. Like, it's because
I agree.
At the end of the day, sorry to burst everyone's bubble here, wrestling's scripted. It's all scripted out months in advance.
But people complain about movies when they're predictable.
Are predictable TV shows and movies more entertaining than unpredictable?
Here's something I'll say. Like, I don't watch most of the MCU, right?
That's the complaint about it. The complaint right now is it's too predictable. That's why they've just had to do a 180 with their entire writing.
Why are the most memorable games in sports
Clark,
upset?
let me have this. Clark, let me have this, right? When No Way Home, the Spider-Man movie was coming out, right? I looked on the Reddit things and I'd seen that, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were coming back. I seen the set photos and all that. I still went to see it in cinemas and enjoyed it just as much as I did. Just because I knew the plot points and all the special cameos and all that doesn't mean I still can't enjoy it to the fullest of its abilities. I still had an amazing time.
Surely you would have enjoyed it more if it was a surprise, seeing them pop up on screen.
Weird. Yeah, you had no idea what was going to happen.
Yeah, you would. You could have still loved it. You could have still adored it. But the shock value, if you didn't know it's going to happen. I mean, that's actually the perfect thing, right? A return in professional wrestling. When a return in wrestling happens, if you've heard about it ahead of time, like you've seen a spoiler on social media, for example, when I saw the CM Punk return this year, it didn't hit the same when I actually watched it because I knew it was going to happen. Whereas if I was watching live and I saw it happen, I would have had goosebumps. It would have been just absolutely shocking. But when you already know it's going to happen, it's not as fun.
You mentioned Punk there, but like the first dance, we all knew he was for Rampage. We all knew it was him, but we still enjoyed it and watched it to the best of our ability.
That's a unique scenario. That's 7 years away. The game that is being played when it comes to professional wrestling, I think in general, is to try to get you to a spot where you're unsure of what's going to happen. And if they're not booking that way, that's frustrating, man. Like, then we just know who's going to win every match.
It's a scripted art form. It's all known.
That's why. That's the beauty of it. It's scripted, so you can make it.
Even in scripted fiction, you don't want to know what's going to happen. You have more control over that. There's more predictability in sports where two teams are going to play against each other, and there's precedent, there's statistics on how they play, and one's going to win and one's going to lose. Or even other combat sports, boxing, MMA. One's probably going to win, one's probably going to lose. The most memorable ones are when somebody pulls an upset.
Well, maybe it's just me then, but I can go into a match knowing it's predictable, whether it's WWE, Ring of Honor, AEW, or whatever, and I can still enjoy it to.
No one's arguing that. My point is, it can be made better. It can be made better if you don't have any clue what's going to happen. You can absolutely enjoy a match that's either telegraphed or predictable, or you absolutely know what the outcome is. Even if it's been spoiled, you can enjoy any product. I agree with that 100%. One way you can make it better is when that's not the case.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, Shad saying, facts, that makes moments like when We're not going to talk about that one, Shad. We're going to pretend that never happened.
Chicago.
But on that note, let's talk about something which is definitely happening right now, and that is Damian Priest and Cody Rhodes championship runs. Both of them currently ongoing. They also both won the belt at this year's WrestleMania, so they've been the same length of time. But this question is our final bit of mail of the day, and it's submitted by the_and3 Maniac, who is saying, do you believe Damian Priest's title run is better than Cody Rhodes? Great question. Really, really difficult to answer, because I kind of felt like Damian Priest's title run took a little bit of time to get going, but now it has. Well, I think it's been thoroughly entertaining the past few months, and also I believe Damian Priest deserves a heck of a lot of, appreciation, applause, whatever you want to say, purely because not only has he been telling stories in his own world title reign, he's been telling stories for Dominic Mysterio, he's been telling stories for Liv Morgan, for Rhea Ripley, all of the Judgment Day, and he's doing all of this while having a really stellar championship run. But to your question, Cody or Damian's? Well, so far, actually, I'm going to give the edge just about to Damian Priest, but both, in my personal opinion, have been solid. But Soul, what about you?
So I will say this. For each run, obviously starting at the same point is very good to judge these things. Priest has had more defenses on pay-per-view than Cody by one, because Cody didn't defend at Money in the Bank while Priest did. I think Priest has the better looking belt, but for title run, I'm going to go with Cody Rhodes. Solely because Cody worked with people longer. You know, the AJ thing went from Backlash to Clash of the Castle. And with Priest, he's kind of jumped from people really rapidly. Mind Jay, Drew, then to Seth, and now to Gunther, which gives it a bit of a uniqueness that it's not the same repetition, but you don't build upon it as long. So I think with Cody, obviously, with AJ, there was a bit of a long period from the Backlash to Clash. They did a normal match, then I quit stipulation. Priest, it's all just been normal match type, so that doesn't really give it a bit of a variation. They're in very unique situations because they're done so differently, but they've been going for the same length of time. It's very, very unique. I prefer Cody's just because it's the WWE Championship, so it's automatically the higher tier belt. And I just enjoy Cody as a worker in the ring more. I think he's very more entertaining. I like his entrance more. I like his presentation. I like the gear. I like everything about Cody. Priest, I feel like, was a heel. Now he's in between. Now he's sort of mild face. So there's a bit of a wonkiness with you're ever to cheer or boo him. I will say, though, from what we're going to get out of this title reign, I think Priest has a bit of an edge. Like you mentioned, stories affected around the championship as well and himself. I'm very excited to see the 24 documentary that's going to debut, I think, on SummerSlam the day before, going about him and his history and all that, because I really like WWE's documentary, so I'm very excited for that. So, yeah, they're just very different and unique, but just for my personal preferences, I'm going to go with Cody Rhodes.
Oh, wow, okay. Well, Shad does disagree. He's saying Cody beat the Prime Trash Can and AJ Styles twice. Cat of KSK is saying Priest is elevating Dom and the lot, while Cody is requiring Orton and KO to make Cody better. Big claim there, no doubt about it. David Mart saying, let's go Gunther. He wants Gunther to win and have a better reign than both of them. But yeah, in terms of matches, number one is saying Cody Rhodes, but in terms of storytelling, Damian Priest has given them better storylines. Well, Clark, what's your opinion? Damian Priest or Cody Rhodes?
So I think the general assumption would be that I would be very anti-Cody on this, but I really wanted to try to think of this as objectively as possible. And I'll say this about Cody's reign. As a public champion, he's done as close to as good of a job as Roman Reigns, as far as carrying the belt outside the company and making public appearances and being the poster child, being the billboard, being the marketing guy for the WWE, being the face of the company in Roman's absence. I don't know anybody else in WWE currently that's capable of that. That, I promise you, is the last time I will compliment Cody Rhodes on this show today, though, because the workhorse belts on the other side, Damian Priest has put in so much work and elevated so many people around him. I'm going to give him the nod, and here's especially why. It would be very, very easy for him to be super, super overshadowed by Priest and Punk. It would be, by Priest and Punk, by Seth and Punk. I apologize. By Seth Rollins and CM Punk. It's very easy to get there. While their star power and their rivalry has been a huge storyline during his title reign, he's had staying power during it and managed to carry the belt and retain, on top of building, like you mentioned earlier, Ben, other Judgment Day storylines, whether it be the Dom stuff, whether it be the Finn stuff. His interactions, he's truly carried this world title as the workhorse belt it was designed to be when Seth Rollins himself cut that promo at the introduction of the title, right? I'm going to defend it often. He's defended it more often. He's defended it well. Everybody around him has been elevated, so I'm giving Priest the slight nod, but it was closer than I thought.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's no doubt about it that it kind of is. Like, they both had good championship reigns, but not necessarily great championship reigns. I think that's been the consensus here. Like, they've both been solid, but...
Sorry quickly. I think as well, Priest has been dealt a bad hand because obviously it's a fresh championship as well. Cody has the lineage of the WWE championship that's gone back to the 70s and all that. So for what he's done for this, and to make people like you guys agree and think he has a better run, it's got to be topped off for the guy to be able to do that and make people care about a fresh new belt.
Great point.
What I think Gunther, do I think he will win? I personally think he will with Bash of the Berlin coming up.
I do too.
And what Gunther could do for that, God, I can imagine.
Oh, it's going to be unreal when we do see that. Hopefully we do see that at SummerSlam when they take each other on in what will be a banger. And we'll probably see a bit more progression of their storyline tonight on WWE Raw. I will be back in the morning to talk about Monday Night Raw and Allison analysis. WR News is back tomorrow as well. And then tomorrow night, we have Shad, Jordy, and Chaos. And they're going to be talking everything Raw. They're going to be debating it. Chicken nuggets, chicken tendies, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, the lot. They'll get into it. We'll see you guys then. Thank you, Clark. Thank you. So, peace. Oh, sorry, and off the air tomorrow as well. They should plug that on.
Even later
plug that on the show.
There's
another daily before that. There's another daily before that to plug it on.
Get some sleep, boys. Come on.
Throw those twos up. The Tuesday Night Delights will be back tomorrow for Off the Air NXT as well. We'll hopefully see you guys then. Peace.